Last year, I wore my Explorer 36 to New York City to see if it was safe to wear a Rolex in the city. I found out that it was safe, but this year I'm taking it one step further and I'm wearing my full yellow gold Day-Date 36 to New York City. I'm going to wear it in Midtown, the Lower East Side, West Village, and the Meatpacking District, in the subway and on the street. And we'll see how safe I felt wearing a full gold Rolex in the city. I'll take it with me to do some shopping, see some sights, have a coffee in the morning, try a New York pizza slice in the afternoon for lunch, and have a cocktail at night. The watch we're talking about is the Rolex Day-Date 36mm in yellow gold and with a champagne dial. My AD pre-ordered this for me 2 years ago, back when they were still doing pre-orders. I originally ordered the stick dial, but this diamond dial came in sooner, within 4 to 5 weeks. They offered me to switch to this one, or I could still wait for the stick dial, which may take another 6 to 12 months. The yellow gold fluted bezel has sparkle to it, but the diamonds on the dial just add an extra sparkle to the watch. And I think the champagne color is just classic for the Day-Date. It has a kind of monochromatic look, and this is my only champagne dial in my collection. With the President bracelet, you instantly know that this is a Day-Date. It's put together extremely well. Mine does have these ceramic sleeves, so it still feels like new. The whole watch feels like a solid unit. It's heavy, but it's compact at the same time and fits extremely well on the wrist. I think young guys can still wear the Day-Date, but from what I've seen, the kind of guy that wears the Day-Date is an older guy that's already made it in life, doesn't have to work for a living, and doesn't care what other people think, and has kind of old school or traditional taste in watches. I'm staying in a hotel in Midtown Manhattan. It looks like a fairly new building construction, and it looks modern and clean, maybe a little bit hipster, but it has a decent price, and it's in a good location. I'm staying on the 10th floor, and here's a view from outside on the street from inside the room. And here's a view of the Day-Date inside the room. And here with the direct sunlight, it really sparkles and it looks really nice. Rooms in New York City are famously tiny, but this one didn't seem too small or claustrophobic or cramped. It has one section for the bed and TV and a sitting section, and then there's another large section for the bathroom with the closet and a shower. There's plenty of room in the closets for storage, and the good thing is that it comes with bathrobes and free slippers. And I like the shower with the waterfall shower. Another view of the Day-Date in direct sunlight. And the hotel also has a restaurant with an outside terrace on the 3rd floor, so you can eat and look out on the street. I'll take a short walk down to a coffee shop to have coffee, but I'll say it again, New York City traffic is always busy, and it's always extremely loud and noisy. There's always loud trucks going down the street. There's sirens or construction going on. Here's a view of the Flatiron Building down the street, and across the street is Madison Square Park. This coffee shop is called Paper, and it looks pretty nice from the outside. So I went in and I ordered a cafe Americano and a glass of ice water. Inside is cozy, and there's places to sit along a table or on sitting chairs or a couch. But there's 2 signs that says no public Wi-Fi, and I think that's a not so subtle sign that they don't want you to linger there all day. I still feel comfortable wearing the Day-Date in this neighborhood. It feels safe, and I'm not really concerned about it so far. So next I'll walk back over and check out Madison Square Park. And it's a little surprising. Right when you walk in, you feel that it just becomes quieter and more relaxing, and it makes it feel less stressful right away. In the city, there's some statues of some famous New Yorkers. David Farragut is a famous U.S. naval officer. He was responsible for taking back the city of New Orleans, and for this he was made the first Rear Admiral in the United States Navy during the Civil War. He was also the first officer to be promoted to the rank of Vice Admiral in the United States Navy. But I think most people remember him for saying, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. William H. Seward was maybe one of the most qualified people to become president on paper. He was a senator from New York and governor, but he lost the Republican nomination to Abraham Lincoln, and I think that was the best thing that could have happened because it allowed Abraham Lincoln to become president instead of him. But Seward went on to serve as Secretary of State under Lincoln. I wanted to go inside Italy because I heard that they have really good Italian food, but it didn't look like anything too special on the inside. They had all the same kind of food throughout the store, and everything was overpriced, and it didn't seem too exciting to me, so I didn't stay for very long. Sometimes the subway is packed and with standing room only, and sometimes it's almost empty. I'm not familiar to know which lines are the most busy, but this time the subway car was almost empty, so I felt comfortable filming the Datejust on the subway car. Other times I went, sometimes the subway was still packed, and I still felt comfortable with the Date. I'm walking now closer to evening, and I'm on the way to a bar to have a cocktail. And I'm walking past the Cooper Union Building, and this is famous in my eyes because this is where Abraham Lincoln made his famous Cooper Union speech. And it's amazing to see this, and it gives me goosebumps that I'm walking close to the footsteps of where Abraham Lincoln walked. His Cooper Union speech was famous for propelling him to higher notoriety, and he became famous, and it's helped him on his way to the nomination for president. Abraham Lincoln is my favorite historical figure of all time, and I take a lot of inspiration from him. The area outside the bar was a little bit sketchy, and it was getting late at night, but I still felt okay with the Rolex. My drink was strong and well made, but the best part of the evening was the great conversation. The bar was getting loud and packed, and actually the waiter did notice our watches and asked about them as we were paying the bill. The next morning I went down to the fitness center to get in a workout. And they do have nice facilities here, a lot of cardio equipment. You can run on the treadmill and look out on the street. But I'm staying with my same workout, back, chest, and legs, doing pull-ups, push-ups, and squats. I'll stay with this for a few more weeks and maybe switch it up after that. I'm doing pretty well with staying on the routine and trying to stay consistent, but my weak point is still getting enough protein in the diet and getting enough sleep at night. If I don't get enough nutrition and if I don't get enough sleep and rest, I think all the work that I'm doing is going to waste in the gym. So I think I have to prioritize my weak spots for now. After I take a shower and get dressed, I'll go out for another walk and look for a place to eat for lunch. John's Pizzeria on Bleecker Street is famous for New York pizza. You can go in and see some of the celebrity pictures on the wall. After I ordered, I could watch them making my pizza. They have a wood-fired oven in the kitchen, and I tried to keep track of how long my pizza was in there, and I think it was only in there for about 2 minutes. I ordered the John's Original Famous pizza. So this is just the sauce and cheese, and this is a size medium. Thin crust, New York style pizza. It's got nice charred spots on the top near the crust, and the bottom is evenly cooked also, with a nice char on the bottom also. The New York City tap water is supposed to infuse the crust with some magical properties and taste. But the sauce was tangy. I like the sauce. It had a nice amount of cheese on it, just the right amount, and the crust was crispy. And I was expecting actually a little bit more chew to the crust. So I would say the crust is good, but it's not exceptional. Overall, I would give this pizza a 7.8 out of 10. And that's a good score. It's a solid score. A good place to go in Manhattan. I didn't have time to visit Brooklyn, or else I would have tried out Lombardo's in Brooklyn. Walking in West Village, they have some nice, quaint neighborhoods, and these are quieter and more calmer, and it gets you out of the noisy city traffic. And of course, I felt fine with the day date in this neighborhood. I was able to do some shopping while I was in New York City, and one of my favorite menswear stores is the Armory on Duane Street, and had been ordering online with them, but finally I got to see their store. Also went into the Leica store in Soho. I was expecting something bigger, but this was a fairly small store with two walls of products. They did have new and pre-owned also. I made an appointment with AP in the meatpacking district, and their door is actually very narrow and almost camouflaged and nondescript, so you have to look to find out where the door is. But inside was amazing, really nice design and upscale. I wasn't able to film anything inside except for the outside portion, which is kind of like a small museum for Audemars Piguet. This is the AP house, and all of their boutiques are owned by themselves, but the AP house is even bigger than any of the other boutiques, and they have a lot more selection to try on. I spent about an hour here, and I had some coffee and water, and I was able to try on the AP Royal Oak 37 millimeter, and that looked great on my wrist. Looks like the perfect size. So I asked to be put on the wish list for that. And same story here as Patek. You have to be very patient, and it's going to take years to be able to get one. In the afternoon, I walked down the High Line. This is a walking park which has some very nice views, and it has plants and flowers and trees that you can take a look at. And there's also a place to eat there also. I had the fish taco, which was with crunchy fish, a soft tortilla, cabbage and mayonnaise, and pickled onion. And it was actually very good, not too heavy at all. And in this area, again, I felt comfortable with the Rolex day date. In New York City, most people mind their own business. They go about their own business and really don't look at your watch or your wrist. But I was looking around during my whole visit, and this time I saw a lot of Rolex on the people's wrist. As opposed to last time, I didn't see very much. But this year, especially on Fifth Avenue, I saw about a dozen people wearing a Rolex just on my walk down Fifth Avenue. And I probably saw 24 people with Rolex during my 3 or 4 days in New York City this year. I didn't see gold Rolex. Mostly they were steel Rolex, such as the Submariner or Datejust. But I did see a couple two-tone. But even full gold, I think that's fine to wear in New York City. I was occasionally looking over my shoulder in certain parts of the city, but they do have a police presence in New York City. The NYPD is around. I see them here and there, but they're not everywhere, so it's not like it's a police state, but you can see them here and there. But in Times Square, I didn't go there this year, but the police are pretty much everywhere down there in Times Square. I actually parked my car in New Jersey and took the train into the city, so I'm going back to Penn Station. Special thanks to Danny and Ed for showing me around, and I'm looking forward to coming back to New York City next year. Here's the date in the watch box, and I'm going to have to make some tough decisions within the next few months about trimming down this box to make room for the Patek. I like all of them, but I'm going to have to be ruthless and eliminate one and probably two of these watches. The Day-Date and the Explorer 36 are untouchable, along with my white dial Datejust, which is sitting in its own box. But the other three are expendable, so I'm going to have to give this some further thought.